Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. I made a statement recently that caused people to have a weird reaction. They kind of, they didn't really, some people didn't really like it. And I felt like, okay, let me elaborate a little bit because this really is a reflection of how I think a lack of confidence or how our cultural experiences shape our thinking. I said, it's much easier after I read somewhere that you have to fill out an average of about 30 or 40 job applications in order to get a job. I said it's much easier to start a business than it is to fill out 30 job applications. And then I also said that it's much easier to please a loyal customer than it is to please a racist, sexist boss or a disloyal corporation. A lot of people got mad at me. They were like, "Oh, well, that's what rich, privileged people say, and only a person who's never started a business would say that, et cetera, et cetera." And of course, those comments don't really bother me because I've started a lot of businesses. I've been a finance professor. I've taught at 5 different universities: Syracuse University, the Ohio State University, the University of Rochester, the University of Kentucky, Indiana University. I taught in China, taught in Europe, taught in all around the world. So anyway, my point in all that is to say that I know my shit. So I'm very comfortable, when people give me pushback. It's like when my students will give me pushback. I've taught PhD students and MBA students and all of that. And here's the thing. The reason I made this comment is this. Look, first of all, when you think about the choice of how you're going to make your money. Are you going to become an owner and an investor, run a business, or are you going to go work for someone else? A lot of that's driven by culture. There are some cultures, like I have friends that are maybe Jewish people or Asian friends, etc., where they say, look, I started a business because in my household, getting a job wasn't even laid on the table. We didn't even talk about that. Like that was something that lame people did or that weird people did. That wasn't even part of our culture. So that's what led them into entrepreneurship. So the same thing is true with getting a job. Black people for hundreds of years have been trained to be laborers, and a lot of white people too, have just sort of trained to want to work for other people. And when you talk about, well, what are you going to do with your life? How are you going to go make some money? First thing people say is get a job, get a job, get a job. Now, the reason that that's a trap, in my opinion, is because I've been a black man for a long time now, my whole life. And I find that as a black man, that the whole pathway of feeling like my only option is to go get a job is an economic death trap. It is the Death Star of economics. And let me tell you why. When you get on that job, if you get the job, typically, you're not going to get paid what you're worth because we know the wage gap between blacks and whites is astronomical. You're not going to get treated right. We know that racial discrimination on the job is huge. It's just undealt with. Nobody really talks about it because I guess they don't care. So while y'all are marching out for immigration, whatever it is, whatever they tell you to march for, you might want to march for yourselves too. But then also, you're not going to get the promotions. They say that, whites tend to get more promotions than black people, higher pay, all that stuff. And the reason that happens, again, I'm a financial expert, so I see things in a little bit of a different way. Is what you don't understand is that, none of that was really built for you, that none of that was built by you. People who want to control what happens in the house learn how to build a house. They don't go into somebody else's house and hope that that person who's paying the rent on that house or the mortgage on that house is going to let them redecorate the house. It's not logical, right? But black people don't really learn that. And also we're taught that the only way to make money is to go get a job. So we end up getting pushed into this economic death trap, which leads to unhappiness, depression. Some people I've seen, get hooked on drugs, suicidal, drink a lot, etc., living for the weekend, just things that I think are really just unhealthy that don't make you happy. And black people are among the most depressed people on the planet. And the reason is, I think, because we have a lack of control over our lives. Now, so I'm not sitting here trying to say that it's easy to start a business. I'm not sitting here trying to say that every business succeeds. What I'm trying to say is that you always have a choice. And when I sat down, I've been a business owner for a while now, and I've worked on the plantation, I've worked for other people, I've worked for the man, I've worked from jobs from Taco Bell and Hardee's to Syracuse University, and the theme was kind of consistent. I never felt, as a person of color, that I was respected. I never felt like I was being treated right. I never felt like they were doing right by me. It was a terrible feeling. Now I've known the other side of that. I've known what it's like to be an entrepreneur. I know about, filling out the forms and the LLC forms and all that stuff. And I know about the struggles and keeping your records and finding customers and doing business. And when I, decide, okay, how do I compare one life to the other life? There is no comparison. Freedom has an infinite value. So my paycheck, if you ask me how much I make a year, I'll say I make $1 trillion a year, because you can't put a price tag on the freedom and on the happiness. I work with my people every day. I work with my family every day. I do what I love every day. You can't put a price tag on that. So it don't matter if I could be losing $1 million a year and I would still feel like I was a trillionaire. But then on top of that, the real raw, just straight up economic implications are that, the earning potential as a business owner is much, much higher than it is working for somebody else. And the struggle is kind of similar. I mean, I think it's easier to please. Either way, you're going to have to please somebody. Either way, you're going to have to kiss somebody's ass. So I find it's easier to please a customer who will return your kindness with loyalty than to please a corporation that does not know loyalty. These corporations will hire you on Tuesday and fire you on Thursday. They don't care about you, right? I find it's easier to please co-workers or people that work for me than it is to please a boss that I work for who might be racist and sexist and everything else. I just find that the trade-off is so much more favorable. So it doesn't mean that one option's easy and the other one's not. It just means that both of them are hard as hell, but at least with one of them, if you figure out the formula, you get a life that you love. I know people who figured out the employment formula. They know how to get the job. They even know how to get the promotion. They even know how to get the high salary. And some of them are really unhappy. Like, they come home every day and I'm like, man, you complaining, but you're successful. They're like, yeah, but even at the top, the racism's real. Even Barack Obama, when he got the job of being president of the United States, he was being treated like crap, right? And so to me, I just feel that people of color don't really have a comfortable way to fit into this system that was built by somebody else. I learned a lot by reading about how the Jews invented Hollywood. And they invented Hollywood because they said, don't nobody accept us. So they go work at a law firm. The law firm would say, well, we don't hire Jews. They'd apply for the job. And so they went and started their own law firm. They try to get into the country clubs. They say, well, we don't accept Jews at this country club. So they built their own country club. They would try to get their kids into the elite schools. And they say, well, we don't accept Jews at our school. So they went and they built their own schools. So my point to you is I'm not sitting here trying to say to people like, oh yeah, it's easy to start a business. It's going to be cupcakes and ice cream every day. And no, what I'm here to say to you is it's going to be hard either way. No matter which path you pick, it's going to be hard. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to wear your ass out. The difference is, though, if you figure out the business formula, then you get a freedom unlike anything you can imagine. I'm going to tell you, the gorilla on my back of racism as a black man is not nearly as heavy when I don't have to go to work every day with people who hate me. And one thing I will never do is I will never be so abusive to my children that I will send them to go work for those sons of bitches on a daily basis, because I know how they treat our people. I know how they would treat my children. And it's not that I'm saying everybody's bad. I have love for black people. I don't have time to really spend my time hating white people. Hate is a heavy burden to carry, so I love ferociously. And some people think that because you love black people, you must hate everybody else, and that ain't true. I just love my people. And so what I'm just trying to say to you is, think outside the box, man. You can't really function in that damn box. You can't function inside the box of white supremacy, because that's a box of insanity. You can't make something sane that is built to be insane. You can't make it rational when it's built to be irrational. It ain't gonna work. So what I'm here to say to you is that I've done it both. I've done both. They say it takes an average of about 40 job applications to get even one job offer. Not one job offer. And the offer, in a lot of cases, won't pay you the money that you're looking for. So you usually have to get 2 or 3 offers for some people in order to find the right job. I've done that. I've filled out all the applications, done all the interviews where you're trying to put on your best monkey suit and pretend to be somebody that you're not, so you'll fit in, hoping that they never find out that you're really black and maybe even a little militant, and righteously so, because there's a lot of injustice to be dealt with. You're hoping they don't find that out about you. You're hoping they don't look at your Facebook page and find your picture of Colin Kaepernick on the page. You're hoping they don't find all that, But I've done all that, right? I've spent that life. And remember, I was a highly educated black man. I was the only black person, only African American in the world to get a PhD in finance in the year 2002. Only one on earth. So I've gotten education at the highest levels. I've sat next to the most brilliant mathematicians from Russia, China, Europe, everywhere else, Japan, and competed with them and defeated most of them. And I thought that this level of education would help me escape the pain, the daily pain of going to work for somebody who does not like me, dealing with corporations that don't care about you, whatever, being disrespected. And even that didn't help me escape. The thing that helped me escape was learning how to start a business. And I will say to you that it's hard to please a boss. It's also hard to run a business. When you try to please your boss, sometimes you'll fail. When you try to run a business, sometimes you'll fail. So really, it's a matter of not so much choosing the easy option, because there ain't no easy option. It's about choosing the option, the lifestyle that is a better fit for who you want to be as a human being. So at the end of the day, I didn't choose entrepreneurship because I'm choosing money or choosing fame and status. I chose entrepreneurship because I'm choosing freedom, man. Even difficult freedom is better than easy slavery. I hope that makes sense to you. That's all I want to share with you guys. I just had to clarify that point because I had some people giving me pushback. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm going to push back on the pushback because y'all need to think outside the box because, that's part of your frustration. White supremacy doesn't just frustrate you and mistreat you. It also controls your thinking to the point where you're like a person who's in an abusive relationship who never understands that you actually don't even have to be in that relationship. You can actually get out. So I say to black folks, get out. If your spirit tells you to get out, then get out. Figure the rest out along the way. Just get out, work your ass off, network with a lot of people, bust your butt, take some classes, listen to podcasts, and choose a life of freedom. And somehow it's going to work out. Get out and it will work out. Stop being afraid. That's all I got to say. I'm about to go, guys. Have an awesome day. Don't forget the All Black National Convention is occurring the weekend of September 28th through October 1st, Louisville, Kentucky, at Simmons College of Kentucky and HBCU. They actually have an institute in my name, the Dr. Boyce Watkins Economic Empowerment Institute, and it's going to be amazing. We got a bunch of really brilliant people, smart black people coming from all over the world, people you can network with, you can vibe with, you can start businesses with. Maybe you can meet your husband or your wife there. It's an amazing event. Last year, the energy was so beautiful that I really realized quickly that I said, we got something special here. So I hope you'll come check it out. It's worth the trip. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com to look at the tickets. Also, we do have a digital option. You can check it out at abncdigital.com. The ABNC stands for All Black National Convention, abncdigital.com. Also, if you want to look into any of our programs in the Black Business School, you can go to blackfinancialliteracy.com. That's blackfinancialliteracy.com. We have programs for children. We have programs for adults. The Black Wealth Boot Camp, everybody loves it. We have the Black Stock Market Program. Everything you need to know about this life of freedom, we can train you on how to survive. It's like survivalist skill, survivalist skill training. We give you all of that in the Black Business School. Last but not least, I'll be in London very, very soon. If you want to learn about that, you can go to drboycelondon.com. That's drboycelondon.com. So don't be scared of freedom. I'm going to tell you, because, sometimes they say the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. And I say, no, there's a point where you just say, you know what? I've dealt with white supremacy. I've dealt with those environments. And I just got to the point where I said, I don't know what's on the other side of that wall, but it's got to be better than what I've been dealing with so far. So, give freedom a try. I think you might like it. So take care, guys. I love you. Talk to you soon. Peace.